Hello and welcome to the Nutrition and Alternative Medicine Podcast. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. Welcome to the show. It's still January. Happy New Year. Happy 2017. Welcome to the show. I'm JJ Flazanes, your host. I'm also the host of the Fit to Love podcast show, a 6-day-a-week audio and video show that covers all aspects of health and wellness, from food and cooking in a paleo, gluten, and dairy-free way to smart exercise to get results and protect your joints. We've got this show. We've got our Wellness Wednesdays. There's even some spirituality and relationships on the Fit to Love podcast. So if you want more, check that out. I wanted to bring you an exercise show here in January because besides food, obviously exercise is something people are focused on getting more of, overcoming what gets in the way. And I thought this was the perfect show to add in the middle of January, which is about the limiting beliefs. Because in order to get what you want with exercise or any subject matter, we have to get over the ideas that we have that stop us. So I hope you enjoy today's show. Today's show, the top limiting beliefs about exercise. I was inspired to bring this topic to you because I was interviewed last week on someone else's program. I was the guest expert, and we were talking about people who don't have a lot of time to exercise. And what came up for me during that interview was the limiting beliefs that we have that stop us from getting what we want with exercise, or even exercising, or even beginning to think about exercise, because there's so many beliefs that people have about exercise that someone else told you, someone like me, someone on a podcast, someone on a TV show, someone in a book, and they told you in a way that said you have to do it this way. And if you don't do it this way, it's not worth doing, or at least that's what you interpreted. These limiting beliefs not only stop people from getting results or starting to exercise, it stops people from even thinking it's possible to get results doing something other than what you've been told is the only way to get results. And I'm about possibilities and what will work and looking for what you can do and what will produce an effect in your body that you're happy with versus deciding that I can't even try because there's too many things working against me. And that idea of time is one of the first. So if you're someone who thinks you don't have time to exercise, and you may not, you honestly may not have time. It's not about carving out more time, finding time, because obviously we can't add time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day and same 7 days in a week. But there are ways to adjust sort of the mindset about what you're already doing and seeing how it affects your results. So I'll give you a couple examples. A couple years ago, I was selling a product called the 90-Day Health and Body Makeover Program. And it was a coaching program that came with a workbook and a DVD and a heart rate monitor and some tubing in a bag that you could basically, it's your gym in a bag and you could take it with you wherever you go. And the point of it was to give me 3 months and let me work you into a program that fits your life but gets you results. And I would speak at companies, and one in particular company, they purchased all the products for everyone who was at the event, and then they proceeded to buy a few coaching packages for a few of their top people. And I thought it was really interesting because I got an email from one of the ladies who had received the products, and 30 days later, she said, I just am writing to you to let you know that I have lost 10 pounds. I haven't really started the program yet, but I've lost 10 pounds, and I'm off my blood pressure medication, and my doctor's thrilled. But I haven't really started the program yet. And I thought to myself, wow, well, that's great. I said, what if you're not exercising, what did you do? And she said, well, I just listened to what you said to do. And of course, at that point, I forgot what I said to do in the book. And I said, well, what did I say? And she said, well, park further away, take the stairs instead of the elevator, drink more water, eat more vegetables. And she lost 10 pounds. So you can make slight changes to what you're already doing, even if it's walking somewhere instead of driving somewhere, or taking a walk at lunch instead of sitting at your desk, or walking to lunch and walking back from lunch, or walking to dinner and walking back instead of driving if you live somewhere where you can walk to dinner. It can be as easy as cleaning or doing some yard work that has to get done anyway and changing your mindset about it. In fact, there was a study, and I can't reference it because someone told me, and I'm that kind of person that I purchased the book, The Biology of Belief, to read it, to potentially prove to my non-believing friends that there was a such thing as the energy of law of attraction in the universe and how our biology is affected by our thoughts and the power of our thoughts. But the problem is, I already know that. And so reading it to fight with someone didn't work for me, so I didn't even bother reading it. I have the book. I believe in the book. I don't know that I need to read the book. But for someone who's skeptical, who's not really sure yet, who needs more proof, who needs that research and that data, then absolutely read the book. So for that, this study that I'm about to cite, that I don't remember exactly who did the study, I learned about it through Dr. Wayne Dyer. He talked about a group of housekeepers at a hotel. They asked them, how many of you consider what you do exercise? And I think a certain group of them hadn't thought about it like that before, and they thought, okay, well, maybe it is. And they split the group into two parts. And one group of ladies were told about it being exercise and how they were burning calories and they were building some muscle by moving some furniture around and how they could use this work as their exercise. And the other group wasn't talked to at all. And I think they tracked these ladies, and they found that in the next month, the ladies that were told it was exercise lost weight. And they lost weight not doing anything differently except being aware that what they were doing was considered exercise. So that's the first limiting belief, and it has to do with time. So it's not just about time, it's how you use your time. I always recommend that people learn how to do exercises at home so that if you're watching a TV show, you could potentially, if you tell me that you really want to work out and you need to lose some weight and you want to get exercise in, but TV is the only time you get to relax, I might suggest that during the commercials, rather than fast forwarding through them, if you're on DVR, to use that for your exercise time. And maybe it might be some resistance training on the floor. This week's Movement Monday was 10-minute leg routine for the beginner. And next week will be 10-minute leg routines for the intermediate. There are a lot of tools that you have at your disposal, both at work, in the car, at the gym and not at the gym, outside, and in your home that can help you maximize the time that you do have to do something more efficient so you can get some results, or just get you motivated, or just feel really good that you got in some extra cardiovascular work for 20 minutes during an hour show on the television. So the first limiting belief has to do with time. The second is going to be, I need a gym. I have so many clients, and I've had, since I've started my business, we don't work out in a gym. They all work out at home. And in fact, I've got one client in particular, and I talk about this in a future Movement Monday that hasn't been edited yet, and it has to do with stretching. And, he noticed that I never stretched him. We just did exercises, and they were full body, not all the time. I mean, I specified what muscle groups we were going to work on, but he was a fly fisherman. And he noticed that, I have all this flexibility. My range of motion is so much greater on both sides. I'm even stronger on my strong side and stronger on my weak side, and I can move further. Why is that? We don't stretch. And I said, well, you do stretch. You just do it differently. And he got great results, and we did all the exercises at home. I work out at home. My clients work out at home. I work out with people over Skype as a trainer. I've got clients all over the place, and it's interesting to always find someone who's a skeptic because they think they have to go to the gym. Now, I'm not an anti-gym person. The gym is fine. The gym is hard for someone like me because form is important to me. And it's really hard to watch people with really bad form who potentially might injure themselves in my presence. So I try to stay out of the gym because I find myself wanting to help other people. I know, even if they don't ask me, but I see bones and joints when I go into the gym. So I can't help but if I happen to glance over at a little old lady on a leg press and she's got her knees in her ears and her spine is bent, I'm looking at all that weight on her hips and on her back. And I just find it hard to let her break herself. I feel compelled to want to go help her. So the gym is fine. They've got great tools as long as you know how to use them. And it's an environment that's focused on exercise. And for some people, it's social. If you work for yourself or I work by myself. And sometimes I just want a little social interaction with people. I don't have a water cooler that I'm meeting other coworkers at. So I don't have that same experience at work. But for some people, they really want that and they need that. So, and the gym for some parents may be their quiet time away from their kids or from their spouse or from whatever they have to do at home. So I'm not against the gym. But what I want to impart upon you is that if you're the person that says, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't have time to go to the gym, it's going to take too long to get to the gym, all those reasons why you think you have to go to the gym, you don't have to go to the gym. So that if that's stopping you, know that you can get a full body workout that can get results just the same at home or outside that you can get at a gym. The only exception is if you're a bodybuilder who's preparing for a competition. As long as you have all of the equipment at home, you can get the same results. But if you need all kinds of different equipment that you don't have, then you probably need a gym that has more tools available to you. The next limiting belief is it has to be an hour. So that kind of goes with the gym. Most people think, oh, well, I don't have an hour. Or I want to go take a class, but I don't have the hour. I don't want to get up any earlier. Well, as long as you're okay not taking a class, you don't have to do an hour. In fact, sometimes an hour is a big waste of time if you're not being efficient with your exercise. If you're in a cardio class and you spend 30 minutes of it warming up and not being in your target heart rate zone, then you're wasting time. If you spend an hour at the gym talking with the buddy next to you and resting in between sets, then an hour is a waste of time. So I choose efficiency over time, or I would recommend that you do too. It has to be in the morning. Here's another great limiting belief that I dealt with, and it came into my life when I was working in New York City. And at first, when I was training, I had a day or two a week that I could work out in the morning, but I quickly, because I was the only girl at the 6 a.m. shift, filled up my slots for training very fast. For all the women that wanted a woman to work out with, they chose me, and because some of the other trainers were also busy. And that was just when I'm beginning, so I can't say I was a really great trainer and I earned that respect right off the bat. But I was learning and I was eager, and obviously I'm very passionate about what I do and wanting to help other people. And if I don't have the answer, I'm going to go learn about it and find out so I can help you. And my schedule got so filled that I was booked from 6 to sometimes 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, which left me a little tired by noon and 11. And then it's lunchtime and you want to eat lunch. And then now it's the afternoon and there's that 3 to 4 o'clock lull. Because back then I was eating gluten and dairy and more sugar than I am now. And so I'd have those insulin spikes and drops and I'd be tired and I didn't want to work out. And that made sense. So I didn't, which is silly. So I don't know how long it took me, maybe a month, until I thought, this is ridiculous. I can work out at night. I can work out in the afternoon. I ended up hiring one of my friends to train me once a week as accountability so that I could make myself do it and then just get into the habit. It's about creating a habit, and taking that first step of getting some accountability can help you create that habit. Then it gets worked into your day and you work things around that. And when you're used to it, when you don't have the accountability, you might stick to it because you're creating a better habit. Working out in the morning is great. It definitely focuses you. You feel accomplished. You're probably going to make better food choices. But if you can't work out in the morning and you need to sleep, sleep. Find something really great to do at night. One of the other limiting beliefs is about being tired and not having enough energy. And what I recommended to the group that I spoke to last week was, rather than, if you're not the morning person and you'd rather do it after work, just don't come home after work. Take your bag, go straight to the gym or straight to the beach or straight to wherever you're going to go to get your workout in. If you go home, then you have the chance that you're going to be persuaded to stay at home. Once you take off your clothes and you lay on the couch or you sit down and you relax, you might not get back up. So rather than say, well, I don't have any energy after dinner, do it before dinner. Just don't come home. Make sure you have a snack after work, go straight to the gym, get your workout in, and then come home and truly relax, knowing that you took care of yourself. The next limiting belief is about cardio. Cardio being the most important exercise that people need to do to lose fat. And that's actually not necessarily true. When it comes to deciding the best exercise, it's going to be determined by a lot of factors from you. It's going to be determined by your age, your current body fat percentage, your current fitness level, if you have any injuries, where you are in your fitness goals. Are you very out of shape, or are you in really good shape? I have worked with so many women for the last 15 years who have gone through menopause and asked the same question over and over again. They say, why did I all of a sudden just gain weight? I haven't changed my diet. I haven't changed my activity level. And all of a sudden I've gained weight. And what happens is these women and men, because there is andropause, but women are more the culprits when it comes to doing too much cardio or doing cardio thinking that's the way to keep their weight managed or to lose some weight permanently. And because most women are afraid of weights, because we're going to get to that limiting belief in a second. They're unsure of what to do, and they think the limiting belief is if they lift weights, they're going to get big and bulky, which is not true at all. But back to the cardio part, if you're over 50, man or woman, you have lost a significant amount of hormones. And the hormones that you produce in your body help you to maintain the muscle in your body. So even if you run or do exercise, but you haven't been building muscle, because building muscle is the only natural way to increase your resting metabolism for the long term. Now, there are other ways to stimulate your metabolism, but your resting metabolism is based on how much active tissue you have. And if you're just doing cardio and you're losing muscle, then you're losing the ability to burn calories. The gas tank is getting smaller. And we don't want the gas tank to get smaller unless you're okay with every year eating less and less food. I'm not. So strength training is really important to maintain that active tissue. When I speak, I normally ask people if they know what the metabolism is and what it's made up of. And the analogy I give is, what do you think needs more gas? A Ford Escort or a Hummer? And of course, everyone goes, the Hummer. Well, why? Because it's heavier. It's made of more metal. It's got more meat on it, right? So to speak. So same thing. If you don't have a lot of active tissue, fat's not active, muscle's active. If you don't have a lot of active tissue, you don't need a lot of energy. And we want to maintain that. Muscle is so precious for maintaining your metabolism. So when it comes to doing the right, quote unquote, exercise for you, or the best choice of exercise for you, it's not necessarily always going to be the same answer. It really depends upon what you're going through and what you want and what you've done and where you've been and where you're going and all those other questions. So when you hear someone say the best, just be cautious, because again, these limiting beliefs started as recommendations to somebody in a specific situation to get a specific result. And what happens is we take this information and make it across the board like the belief or the rule. But what happens is making that belief or rule can stop you from doing anything. If you think you have to go to the gym and spend an hour, then that's one of the reasons why most people don't go or even try to attempt to have exercise in their life, because they don't like the gym. They don't want to go to the gym. It's too far away. It's too expensive or whatever. And you don't have an hour. Well, the good news is you don't need the hour and you don't need the gym. You can do it at home. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You get to decide. The next limiting belief that I mentioned was about women mostly thinking, and men thinking, that big weight equals big muscle. Nope. First of all, in order to build muscle, you need testosterone. So ladies, we don't have a lot of testosterone unless you're taking some because you're a bodybuilder. And men, you don't always have a lot of testosterone either. You're supposed to have some, but because of our food supply and the chemicals and all the toxins that we come into contact with these days, as well as stress levels, men's testosterone is getting less and less. And then there's the overload of estrogens in our foods. There's soy in a lot of things, and then in our water bottles and our plastics that are seeping into our foods. So there's a lot of reasons why you need some testosterone, a good amount of it, to build muscle, but you also have a genetic potential. And there's also a physiological way to build muscle. And it's going to be a different profile than building endurance, or like a power lifter building start strength, or for long distance runner, again, like building endurance. So there are different ways to use resistance on the body to get different results. And lifting a weight does not automatically mean you're building muscle. You might be, and most likely if it's something that's slightly hard for you, you will be. But whether or not your goal is actually building muscle and you're doing that well, maybe not. So ladies, if you have a weight in your hand and it's 2 pounds, and you can do 30 reps slowly and 3 sets of them right in a row with a 60-second rest in between all of them, and it's not hard, then it's basically a waste of time. It's a waste of time. So I actually had a client in New York that I would add weight upon weight on the leg press. She kept getting stronger. She also kept getting smaller. So the more weight we put on there, the smaller she got because she lost the weight, she built muscle, she got leaner, and her girth of her legs and of her hips and of her butt and of her waist all went down. So it doesn't mean because you pick up a weight that's appropriate for what it is you want to do, it means all of a sudden you're going to pop out muscles like a bodybuilder. Please, that's not going to happen. And men, just because you're doing weights doesn't mean that you're doing them right either. I've seen too many men who think that they're doing resistance training properly. But again, there's a whole physiology. Exercise is science. I love it for the science, but I also love it for the artistry of building a program and using all these different sciences to pick the most appropriate way to add this into your life for you to get results. We have a couple more of the limiting beliefs, but I do need to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Did you know that there were factors other than diet and exercise that affect your body's ability to burn fat and lose weight? There are 7 contributing factors to what's called weight loss resistance. You may have one or more of these factors that are hindering your body's ability to give you the results that you want. Come on over to fit2love.tv/quiz to take the test and find out where you fall. That's fit2love.tv/quiz. Okay, so we have the next limiting belief about exercise, which is that if you have a lot of weight to lose or you want to make some significant change, that you have to do it every day. I've got several clients that I work with on Skype, one of which I'm sure is listening to this podcast, and she's made some great changes. When I met her a couple of years ago, she was already working with one of the experts on the show, Dr. Lisa Gelper, who did a show last week called Weaken the Cycle of Emotional Eating. And she'd already been working with Dr. Lisa for a little while and had lost some weight. And then it was time to look at the exercise. And when we looked at the exercise, I do something called the FIT principle, and it's an equation that's specifically laid out, and we take your life, your preferences, your goals, what works for you, and we plug it into that equation to see what the best way to use your time, money, and energy is. And for her, she only had 2 days a week that she could exercise. So this is someone who in 3 years has lost over 100 pounds. And I'm kidding you not, she only works out twice a week. Now, there are times where she was on vacation and she worked out more than that, or times where she was so busy with work that she didn't work out at all. But the average was twice a week. And if someone who had to lose 100 pounds or even less than that, let's say 50, let's say you want to lose 50 pounds, the idea and the belief a lot of the times is, if I want to lose this weight, I have to go every day. And you don't. In fact, I think if you can make it more realistic, the chances of it lasting and becoming a lifestyle change is greater. So again, you don't have to work out at the gym. You don't have to work out 5 days a week or 7 days a week. You don't have to work out for an hour. You can make changes, small changes. In fact, that one example I gave you at the beginning of this podcast, the woman didn't exercise at all. She just parked further away and she took the stairs and she drank more water and she lost 10 pounds. So again, don't get caught up. Really examine your beliefs, because if you really want to make change and you're finding that you keep getting stuck, even with things like injuries. Well, I can't do that because I have an injury. You know, I've worked people out on their sides on the floor, or people on the floor, and they still get results because we kind of put them back together again and strengthen them up so that way they can handle more. But you got to start somewhere. And being realistic about where you are and where you want to be, and then taking the steps necessary in a small way that feels easy for you. In fact, when you think of what it is that you want to accomplish and what's the first step to get there, the indication that you're on the right track would be that you go, oh, I can do that. And if you say that, then that's the right next step. But if the idea in your mind of what it is you need to be doing gives you like a pressing pressure in your chest, or feels like a pit in your stomach, or you feel a weight on your shoulders, it's the wrong first step. Choose something that has you feel excited and knowing that you can do it. Set yourself up to win, not to fail. So the last one I'm going to talk about today is going to be the use of the word should. I wrote a blog about this. It's called The Most Violent Word We Use. And I'd love to hear your feedback if this hits home for you at all. And you can go to invisiblefitness.com/blog. And you can search for it. It's called The Most Violent Word We Use. Marshall Rosenberg wrote the book Nonviolent Communication. It's a movement. It's a class. It's a book. It's a workbook. And one of the things, as a psychologist he studied, he came up with the idea and said that should was the most violent word we use because it means you have no choice. And I had recently had someone ask me, well, isn't hate a violent word? And I said, I think hate's a violent word because of the emotions, but it doesn't indicate action. Just because I hate something doesn't mean I'm going to take action on it or that I'm asking anyone else to be different. It's just considering my feelings and my opinion, and it's just general dislike. But if I say you should be doing blah, 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 now I've put a pressure and a guilt maybe, and even a shame on you and telling you that there's something I think you should be doing, and therefore I'm telling you that you're wrong. And if you're shoulding yourself, you're doing the same thing. There's a lot of shaming and guilting and guilt tripping going on when you tell yourself that you should do something. And when it comes to exercise, I hear it all the time. People always should themselves with exercise. So what I'd like to impart upon you today with that idea of should, and maybe acknowledging it and being conscious and aware of it and pulling the shoulds out, replace them when it comes to exercise, especially with want. So rather than tell yourself I really should be exercising, say, I really want to be exercising. And while the first time you say it might not motivate you off the couch, if you do it enough, you're going to start to feel better about that idea. When you tell yourself, I really should be exercising, it's like you're being punished. And I know for me, when someone shoulds on me, I rebel. Nobody gets to tell me what I should or shouldn't be doing. I get to choose that. So I don't necessarily rebel against other people anymore, but I definitely have had those times in my life where in my own mind I'm rebelling against. In fact, I did a competition. It wasn't a stage competition, but I did a competition back in 2000 with a roommate. He wanted to do this bodybuilding thing, and I didn't really care because I don't care. But what was interesting to me is in my mind, I wanted to prove I was a better trainer. And, with the exercise and the food, and we took the pictures and did the measurements before and after. And at the 7-week mark, he had lost 5 pounds and 2% body fat. And I had lost 10 pounds and 7% body fat. So to me, I kind of won. And at the next 7 weeks, I didn't really care, or 5 weeks, I didn't care as much. But at the end, there was this internal idea I had about bodybuilding and competitions where you have to starve yourself. You need to be sucking on ice, and you're living at the gym, and it just, that idea of all that, I rebelled against it. So literally the day before we were supposed to be taking pictures, I'm eating pizza, I had a bagel, I bought a chocolate muffin. It was like my finger, like I was given the finger to the idea that, no, why would I do that? That's ridiculous. I don't want to live like that. So if you can recognize your own internal shoulds and convert them into wants, then you'll feel more motivation internally to do the things that you want to do. And then you'll get some results because you won't feel the shame or the guilt or the anger that comes up when basically you feel trapped. So that's today's show. I'd love to hear from you if you enjoyed it. I'd love you to subscribe to the channel, and also at fittolove.tv, come on over and we can send you an email every week with the list of the shows right directly into your inbox. They are all up on fittolove.tv as of now, so come on over and take a look. Would love to hear from you on the blog or even just in an email. I want to know how these shows are resonating with you and what you're getting out of them. If you feel compelled, I'd love a 5-star rating on iTunes. It's okay if you don't. I just wanted to ask in case you loved what you heard. So I hope that this helped, and I look forward to connecting with you again. Thank you again for downloading Nutrition and Alternative Medicine. If you want more shows right now, come on over to fit2love.tv and check out our Wellness Wednesdays.